Imagine for a moment a world teetering on the precipice of obliteration, not from an alien invasion or a rogue supervillain, but from a war of a scale so monumental, so utterly devastating, that it was waged between the very beings who were meant to safeguard humanity. This was the grim reality of the Flashpoint universe, a timeline born from a singular, deeply personal choice, and one that transformed saviors into destroyers on an unimaginable scale. The skies over what was once Western Europe were not filled with the promise of dawn, but with the perpetual twilight of war. The very land beneath them groaned under the weight of an endless conflict, a battle that had already claimed millions of lives, erasing nations from maps and history books alike. This wasn't a skirmish. It was an apocalypse by attrition, orchestrated by two of the world's most powerful, iconic heroes: Wonder Woman leading the Amazonian forces, and Aquaman commanding the mighty armies of Atlantis. Their conflict was not born of ideology or conquest in the traditional sense, but from a deeply personal tragedy, a love story twisted into a saga of betrayal and vengeance. Diana of Themyscira and Arthur Curry, Wonder Woman and Aquaman, had once shared a romance, a bond that for a brief, hopeful period seemed to promise a unification of their distinct worlds. It was a connection that hinted at a brighter future, a bridge between land and sea. But that promise shattered, irrevocably, when this relationship ended not in quiet sorrow, but in a horrific act of betrayal and assassination. The details are veiled in the pain of the past, but the outcome was brutally clear. The alleged murder of Aquaman's wife, Mera, by Amazonian hands, or, as some whispered, by Diana herself, ignited a fuse that detonated the world. From that moment, the delicate truce between the Amazons and the Atlanteans crumbled into outright war. Europe became the tragic staging ground for their rage, its cities and cultural treasures reduced to rubble, its populations decimated. The English Channel, once a passage of commerce and connection, became a deadly battleground, a graveyard for countless soldiers and civilians alike. Atlantis had flooded much of the continent, submerging ancient landmarks and bustling metropolises, transforming them into watery tombs. The Amazons, in their ferocity, had carved out their own dominion, turning lands once vibrant with life into hardened fortresses, ruled by a chilling, uncompromising order. This was the desolate canvas upon which Barry Allen, the Flash, found himself stranded. Waking in a world utterly alien, stripped of his powers, and confronted by the shocking realization of what he had unwittingly wrought, his journey became one of desperate urgency. He had run back in time, not to destroy, but to save his mother from her murderer, to mend a wound in his own heart. A deeply human, utterly understandable act born from profound grief. Yet, in altering that single moment, he had inadvertently unraveled the very fabric of reality, creating this twisted reflection of the world he knew. Barry navigated a landscape where the familiar faces of his friends and allies were either absent, tragically different, or leading the charge in this brutal conflict. Superman was not the beacon of hope, but a captive, weakened and isolated. Batman was a hardened, even more vengeful figure, driven by a different, darker tragedy. And at the heart of the global catastrophe were Diana and Arthur, two figures who, in his own timeline, stood for justice and protection. Here, they were the architects of mass destruction, their personal vendetta escalating into a planetary nightmare. Their armies clashed with an intensity that threatened to tear the very Earth apart, their former affection replaced by an all-consuming hatred that eclipsed all else. This universe, the Flashpoint, serves as a poignant, almost heartbreaking reminder of the delicate balance that holds our reality together. It shows us how even the most noble intentions, when acted upon without understanding the full ripple effect, can lead to unforeseen and catastrophic consequences. It forces us to confront the idea that heroes, when stripped of their moral compass by personal pain or vengeance, can become the greatest threats of all. The war between the Amazons and Atlanteans was not just a conflict of superbeings. It was a profound illustration of how easily power, love, and loss can twist into destruction. Barry's desperate mission to restore his timeline wasn't just about regaining his speed. It was about trying to mend a world broken by the very hands that were meant to heal it, a consequence of his own very human mistake. It's a powerful narrative, isn't it? One that makes us ponder the weight of our choices and the immense responsibility that comes with great power, whether that power is super speed or simply the ability to alter a moment in time. What are your thoughts on this alternate reality? Do you think Barry's initial mistake was understandable, even knowing the consequences? Share your perspectives in the comments below. And if you found this exploration thought-provoking, consider subscribing or following for more deep dives into the intricate tapestries of comic book universes.